Many people fail to understand a fundamental truth. Time is slipping through your fingers faster than you realize, and once it's gone, there's no way to get it back. Every second that passes is a lost opportunity, and yet people move through life if they have an infinite supply of it. But the reality is that time is the most valuable resource you possess. It can be transformed into almost anything: wealth, skill, status, influence, or physical fitness. Time is not just money. It's more powerful than money. The wealthy use their money to purchase back their time. They hire drivers, take private planes, delegate tasks, all in the interest of saving minutes and hours. Conversely, those with limited means often sacrifice their time to preserve their limited funds, waiting in lines, commuting on slow public transport, or doing manual tasks themselves. But here's the kicker: they're engaging in the same transaction. Time and money are two sides of the same coin. So when I tell you that you don't have time, it's not a vague motivational lineage, it's a cold, hard fact. You don't have time to indulge in trivial distractions. You don't have time to let small setbacks take up mental space. You certainly don't have the luxury of allowing pain, whether physical or emotional, to derail your progress. For instance, if you have a headache, I'm not disputing the discomfort. Sure, your head may genuinely ache, but that doesn't mean you have the bandwidth to let it impact your focus or actions. The world isn't going to pause for you. Others out there are grinding harder, moving faster, and outmaneuvering you at every turn. They have better access to information, stronger networks, and often more drive. You cannot compete with that if you're letting every minor hiccup distract you. Asking how to operate while dealing with a headache is already admitting defeat. That's the wrong question to be asking. The very act of wondering how to function through discomfort means your focus is misplaced. Life is merciless to those who aren't mentally fortified. Want another example? Let's say your partner starts an argument maybe yesterday, maybe this morning, and now you're stuck in an endless back and forth over text. If you're still consumed by that argument hours later, then you've already lost valuable time you'll never get back. While you're caught up emotionally, someone else is working on their craft, building their business, growing their influence. You're squandering mental energy that could be better spent on real, tangible progress. There's an infinite amount of productive work that could be done at any moment, so why are you wasting that time scrolling through social media, watching pointless videos, or brooding over minor issues? Every second you spend on low-value activities is a second you could have used to become better. You could be building something lasting, investing in yourself, learning a new skill, enhancing your body, or establishing your presence in the world. Even something as silly as standing outside a random embassy with a sign every day could eventually draw attention if done consistently enough. That's how powerful focused time is. You can literally manufacture influence or identity out of nothing but persistence. So why would you waste it nursing imaginary limits or unproductive emotions? Personally, I've dealt with injuries in the past while preparing for fights, and I remember my coach telling me something that stuck with me. Do you think your opponent will hit you with less force because you're hurt? Of course not. The world isn't kinder because you're in pain. Your competitors don't slow down for your benefit. Whether you're limping or bleeding, they're still aiming to beat you. And if that's the case, then why should your own drive soften? Why should your ambitions pause? No one is going to hand you success because you're tired. No one will say, you have a headache? Okay, here's a break from life. People are out there trying to take what you want, whether it's the job, the recognition, or even your relationships. You might not realize it, but someone is always competing with you, even for the people closest to you. And they don't care if you're not at your best. So why should you let yourself care so much? The faster you learn to ignore the non-essentials, the sooner you'll begin making real progress. Rewiring your mind is essential. You have to build a mindset that treats time as sacred. Most of the things you waste energy on aren't even worthy of a moment of your attention. Feeling tired? Get over it. Feeling distracted? Refocus. Having a headache? Acknowledge it and move on. Because here's the brutal truth: if you express these feelings openly, especially to someone you want to respect you, it works against you. Let's say you're dating someone and you complain, I've got a pounding headache. Sure, she may say something supportive like, do you want a pill? But subconsciously, she's registering weakness. She's thinking, this man can't even handle a minor headache. That's not the kind of person anyone instinctively admires or feels protected by. Unless you're suffering from something severe like a serious injury or major illness, complaining won't get you anywhere. In fact, most of the time, your ailments come from self-inflicted bad habits. For instance, if your head hurts because you've been mindlessly scrolling TikTok for hours, you don't have a health issue, you have a discipline issue. The truth is, many people deserve the outcomes they get. The universe is incredibly fair. It simply reflects your actions. If you're putting in low effort, you're going to get low results. If you allow tiny discomforts to dominate your life, you're going to be dominated by people who don't. So ask yourself, Are you spending your time as if it's your most valuable asset, or are you throwing it away? People often complain that life isn't fair, but I'd argue that in a broader sense, the universe has a remarkable way of balancing things out. Over time, what you put in is usually what you get back. Call it karma, divine justice, or natural consequence, whatever you name it. The outcome remains the same. Life hands you what you've earned. So if you're unsatisfied with where you are, you need to take a long, honest look at yourself. Have you truly put in the work? Have you consistently pushed through discomfort? Have you genuinely given your maximum effort in all the things you've taken on? Or have you cut corners, slacked off, made excuses, and settled for average? The hard truth is, most people get exactly what they work for. No more and no less. You can dream of fancy cars, luxurious vacations, yachts, and an endless line of admirers, but those dreams mean nothing if they aren't matched with equal effort. Wanting a high-status lifestyle doesn't entitle you to it. There's a major difference between wishing for something and being worthy of it. If you had really earned it, your daily actions would reflect that, and life would eventually reward you accordingly. Everything I've ever achieved came not from luck, but from relentless effort and persistence. It wasn't immediate, it wasn't easy, but it was always earned. I put in the hours, overcame obstacles, and kept going when it got hard, and in time, the results showed up. I don't say this to brag. I say it because it's the truth, and the truth matters. I genuinely can't think of a single moment in my life where I skipped out on something important just because I didn't feel well. A headache has never stopped me from doing what needed to be done. Not once. That level of consistency builds a foundation for long-term success. It becomes much easier to keep going when you find a sense of purpose in what you do. If you're passionate about something, motivation becomes less necessary because you're driven from within. That said, it's unrealistic to expect that you'll love everything you do. Most of the tasks that life demands from you aren't fun or exciting, but that doesn't mean you can't excel at them. You can become competent, even excellent at things you dislike, simply by committing to growth. And once you start improving, you often begin to enjoy the process. You may never fall in love with the task itself, but you can fall in love with the results of your discipline. The approach you take to any given task is reflective of your approach to life as a whole. If you half-heartedly attempt one thing, chances are you're bringing that same weak effort into other areas as well. On the other hand, if you attack each challenge with intensity, that attitude becomes a habit. It becomes who you are. Personally, I either go all in or I don't do it at all. If I'm going to do something, I want to excel at it. Mediocrity is a waste of time. Whether I'm appearing on a podcast or learning a new skill, I want to perform at a high level. Not because of ego, but out of self-respect and respect for others. Giving your full effort should be your default mode no matter the task. Even small everyday activities deserve your attention. If you're playing a game, play it well. If you're driving a car, drive with precision and care. Think about conserving fuel, anticipating traffic, minimizing sudden stops. Why not train yourself to be great at even the little things? Most people just go through the motions. They get in their vehicle, speed around without thinking, slam the brakes last second, wasting gas and putting others at risk. But imagine you drove like someone important was in the back seat. Suddenly the quality of your driving would improve. That's the mindset you should bring into every area of your life. Excellence is a learned behavior. The world might not give you the luxury of doing only what you love, but it will always respect someone who does things well, even when they don't want to. The cheat code in navigating life is to take pride in getting better regardless of how you feel about the activity. Improvement feels good. Becoming more capable is satisfying in its own right. And if you can fall in love with progress, you'll thrive even when faced with tasks you'd normally avoid. That's how you build real discipline and lasting confidence. When I take on something, I give it energy and focus because I value being effective. It's not about arrogance, it's about accountability. I owe it to myself and to the people who depend on me to be capable. Whether it's my family, friends, or teammates, if someone I care about needs something, I want them to know I can deliver. Even if it's something unfamiliar, I'll learn it quickly. You can get good at learning, good at focusing, good at treating your responsibilities seriously. These are essential skills that separate those who succeed from those who don't. In a world where most people can't even concentrate for 5 minutes or finish a task without distraction, these basic skills give you a huge edge. So can you reach the pinnacle of a field like boxing or any demanding pursuit without loving it? No, probably not. But you can get very good at it through sheer discipline. If you're already committing an hour to training, why not give it your all? You're going to spend the time anyway, so what do you gain by going through the motions? Trying hard is a mindset, and it's a habit you build through repetition. People who constantly need to be motivated to act usually just lack the discipline to follow through, and those are the people who never quite get there. People often act like simply showing up is enough, as if merely being present is a sign of dedication. But the truth is, it's not about attendance. It's about effort. It's not just going to the practice session or showing up to the task. It's about immersing yourself in it, pushing your limits, and fully committing to every minute. If you're going to invest time anyway, why wouldn't you give it everything you have? What's the point of spending an hour doing something if you're not going to pour all your energy into it? The unfortunate reality is that many people live their entire lives without ever truly giving their full effort to anything. Think about it, even during your workouts. Are you really pushing yourself to your limits? Or are you operating at 60%, maybe 70% when you're at work? Are you performing with maximum efficiency or just coasting through the day? Most aren't sprinting towards success. They're dragging their feet, going through the motions and calling it trying. But when have you honestly given 100%? Most people rarely, if ever, do. And yet we're stepping into an era where competition is more intense than ever. You're not just up against your peers, you're competing globally. And if you're not willing to sharpen your skills and operate at peak performance in everything you do, you're already behind. Interestingly, the boxing ring teaches you a lot about the mind, not just the body. While the sport itself is physical, the truths it reveals go far beyond punches. For example, when you're ahead in a match, when you're winning, you feel strong, energized, unstoppable. But when you're behind, when you're losing, exhaustion hits you like a wall. Your energy is directly tied to your momentum. Once you start to succeed, motivation seems infinite. It flows from some hidden source and fuels you to keep going. Turning a losing situation into a winning one, that's the hard part. That's where the struggle lies. But once the tides shift in your favor, staying on top becomes much easier. The same principle applies to life, especially with money. The challenge is always getting past that early resistance. Making your first significant progress is the toughest part. But once the momentum builds, success fuels itself. It becomes a cycle that lifts you higher and higher, like a whirlwind that sweeps you into a better life. But to understand this cycle, you must learn it through experience. That's why mastering any discipline, including boxing, can unlock valuable insights into life itself. Excellence across all areas isn't optional anymore, it's necessary. You need to be committed to giving your best in every situation. Half efforts lead to half results. Unfortunately, modern culture rewards participation over performance. You hear people say things like, well, I didn't really feel like working out, but at least I went. That's the trap thinking that showing up is the victory. The real value lies in how hard you tried once you got there. And going somewhere and giving minimal effort isn't an achievement, it's a missed opportunity. If you already took the time to be there, why not make it count? You see this excuse-making behavior everywhere. I wasn't in the mood. I just did a light session, or at least I showed up. None of those matter. The habit of half trying is one of the worst habits you can form. If you're not going to fully engage, it might be better not to do it at all. You start to train yourself to expect less from yourself, and over time, mediocrity becomes your standard. You begin to settle for average, and that standard bleeds into every other area of your life. On the flip side, when you train yourself to give your all, that intensity becomes your default setting. You naturally start driving more skillfully, speaking more clearly, thinking more efficiently, and aiming higher in everything from your finances to your relationships to your physical well-being. Eventually, it becomes your second nature. You get into the habit of pursuing excellence simply because it's all you've ever done. That kind of mindset transforms your approach to life. Whether you're raising your kids, planning your future, or protecting your loved ones, you do it with seriousness and intent. Everything becomes a craft you want to master, not because you're obsessed with being perfect, but because you've trained yourself to aim for greatness. And even if you don't love the task, giving it your best ensures you develop a solid level of competence. That baseline of capability sets you apart in a world full of passive participants. People admire success, but they rarely see the suffering that came before it. It's like being congratulated for being pregnant. No one witnessed the struggle it took to reach that point. But those struggles are the foundation of victory. The disappointments, failures, betrayals, they're what prepare you for triumph. Without setbacks, you wouldn't learn the lessons that make success sustainable. Without betrayal, you wouldn't understand loyalty. Without heartbreak, you wouldn't cherish true love. Darkness gives meaning to the light. Every painful moment you endure is building your character. And when you're going through hardship, instead of asking, why me, ask, what can I learn from this? Say, thank you for the tough times that are preparing you for greatness. Each time life hits you hard, it's creating space for gratitude, perspective, and growth. It's making sure that when success finally comes, you won't squander it. You'll value it. You'll protect it because you know what it took to get there. And through it all, bravery is the key. Without courage, certain paths won't even appear in your life. Like a chessboard, your choices are limited by your fear. A timid mind never even sees bold moves. But a courageous heart unlocks options others can't imagine. Start asking yourself, What would the boldest version of me do right now? Because it's in those decisions, those daring, uncomfortable leaps that your life transforms. Let's start by opening your mind to a concept, not necessarily acting on it yet, but learning to entertain the idea. Courage often escapes people, not because they're incapable of it, but because they never even consider it an option. Fear conditions the mind to automatically reject bold choices before they're even evaluated. So one of the most powerful mental habits you can develop is the willingness to explore daring possibilities. The ability to imagine a courageous path is itself a skill on that, once strengthened, will serve you in every arena of life. It doesn't matter where you are in the world or what your current circumstances are. Being brave opens up doors that cowardice keeps shut. The world rewards boldness, and if you've never practiced thinking boldly, you'll never discover those opportunities. So begin there. Train your thoughts to explore the paths less taken. Every aspect of life revolves around persuasion and communication. Convincing someone to trust you, to hire you, to love you, it all comes down to selling ideas. Life, in many ways, is one big negotiation. This is why learning something like boxing can be transformative. It's not just about physical combat. It's about sharpening your will and aligning your mind and body into one efficient system. You can't have mental toughness without physical discipline. They fuel each other. So who do you need to become before wealth arrives? That's a crucial question. Money doesn't transform you. It magnifies who you already are. If you're kind, wealth makes you more generous. If you're reckless, wealth amplifies that chaos. If you're mentally frail, money makes you more fearful and dependent. But if you're already grounded and determined, then riches make you bolder. That's why it's actually a blessing that true wealth doesn't come quickly. For most, it forces you to mature. Struggles refine a man. The fire of hardship burns away weakness. No man becomes great without being forged in adversity. Endurance and resilience are prerequisites to being truly strong. There's comfort in knowing that your trials are part of a greater design. While you pursue financial success, keep in mind that the suffering along the way isn't pointless. Those tough experiences are the ingredients that will shape the strongest version of you. Wake up every morning with the intention to give everything you've got to every single task. Don't worry obsessively about the outcome. If you focus on the quality of your actions, the results will naturally follow. Wealth isn't the hard part. Neither is attracting a partner or building a fulfilling life. The real challenge lies in falling in love with the process. If you can learn to enjoy the effort itself, to feel satisfied by doing your best work each day, then everything else will fall into place. Consistency is the secret. The more days you show up and give your all, the more likely you are to be present when fortune favors you. You don't want to miss your breakthrough moment just because you skipped that one day. Persistence ensures you're there when opportunity knocks. In life, you receive exactly what you tolerate. If you settle for mediocrity, the world will hand it to you without hesitation. You teach people how to treat you by what you accept. That goes for relationships, friendships, your career, and even random chance. If you constantly strive, stay grateful, and sincerely give thanks for every lesson, good or bad, you begin to attract more of what you're worthy of. Luck isn't just a roll of the dice. Real luck is the result of consistent effort, faith, and showing up every single day. When you're seen as someone who follows through, someone who makes good on his promises, that reliability becomes magnetic. It's not about flashy charm, it's about competence. When a woman, for example, looks at you and knows without doubt that you always do what you say, that's where true attraction begins. That's where respect begins. Competence is the core of masculinity. It's not about superficial bragging. It's about demonstrating value through your actions. There's a reason our ancestors built monuments, sailed uncharted seas, and raised cathedrals. They didn't do it for vanity alone. They did it to show what was possible. Every impressive structure around you is the product of men who said, watch what we can create. There's nothing wrong with showcasing excellence. But don't boast about possessions. Demonstrate your skill, your strength, your discipline. It's far more meaningful to prove your worth by showing what you can do that others can't. That's the kind of pride that built civilizations. Often the path to respect is paved with courage. Doing the difficult thing, the thing that everyone else avoids, is what sets you apart. Most people are paralyzed by fear, and if you can step into the space they won't touch, that's where admiration lives. But to maintain that drive, it helps to surround yourself with others who are also climbing. Masculine accountability thrives in community. When every man in your circle is pushing himself, it creates a shared force of forward momentum. Just like fighters train in camps, even though they fight alone in the ring, you need a tribe brothers who won't let you slide, who challenge you to be sharper, stronger, better. You grow faster when you're not the only one demanding more from yourself. If you ever feel like your inner fire is dimming, reflect on this. Many people, even in this hyper-connected world, think they've made it when they've barely scratched the surface. Making a few $1,000s is not success. It's a step. It's not the finish line. Some people celebrate prematurely because they haven't seen what real success looks like. Don't settle. Real achievement is not just wealth, it's legacy. It's building something that outlasts you. You weren't put here just to exist and disappear. Your purpose is to create, to lead, to raise children who carry your values forward, to be remembered because of the impact you made. That's why you were born to be great, not average. And the path to that kind of life is built every day through discipline, through bravery, through relentless effort, and through belief in what you're becoming. You need to reevaluate your standards for achievement. If you believe you've accomplished something significant just because you've made a minor improvement or experienced a temporary success, then your understanding of progress is fundamentally flawed. People often get stuck in this loop of premature satisfaction, celebrating too early, and using small wins as excuses to pause or stop entirely. Popular psychology will tell you to reward yourself for every baby step and treat every tiny milestone as a celebration. But that mindset can sabotage your growth. The fact that you can hit a modest goal and instantly feel content enough to slow down is a sign that your internal programming needs reworking. That's not the mentality of a high performer. If you truly understood what it meant to be successful, you wouldn't feel any satisfaction from minor gains. Personally, I don't think I've achieved enough to justify relaxing, so how can others believe they've earned that right after minimal effort? My life revolves around consistent, relentless work. I operate every day, all week, nearly 18 hours a day, without taking breaks, without making excuses. Whether I'm in pain or in perfect health, the work continues. That's just the standard. You see people talking about how they had a great week, made a few bucks, and now they're off to lounge on a beach somewhere. That's not how winners operate. Real success requires obsession. People wonder why those at the top of the wealth pyramid continue to grind, why billionaires still build companies and pursue ventures when they already have everything. It's because the people who become truly wealthy don't view rest the same way. They aren't wired to take their foot off the gas. They don't reach the mountaintop by treating progress as a vacation ticket. They reach it by making work their default mode. The wealthy who keep growing are the ones who treat each day as an opportunity to expand, not escape. Yes, maybe once you're worth hundreds of billions, you can take a day off here and there, but by the time you reach that level, you've already reprogrammed your mind to find joy in the grind. That's the essence of being a man, not to drift through life in comfort, not to avoid pain, but to endure enough adversity that your name echoes long after you're gone. To fight for something, to stand for something, to live with such impact that like history is forced to remember you. You don't get that by taking the easy road. You don't get remembered by living the same forgettable life as everyone else. You need to be driven, focused, intense. Your name must be tied to something remarkable, something that altered the world or changed lives. That's the mission. That's what you're here for. And you'll never accomplish it if you're broke, lazy, aimless, and whining about a minor inconvenience. You weren't born to be invisible. You were born to matter. And if that requires unrelenting drive, then that's exactly what you must develop, no matter how it feels.